So what is this? I'll tell you what this is. This is Battle of Stalingrad, IL2 BoS. I have had this game for a long time. I bought this, I don't know, 2 years ago, something like that. And I never really played it. Now the Spitfire has come out in the last month or so. I did buy the Spitfire very close to release date, but I also never really played it. So in the last couple of hours, I've just been setting up my controls, and we're ready to have a look. So let's start. I have a BF110 up ahead, who's just wiggled past me there. We'll go up over the top and we'll have a little play with this guy, and we'll just have a bit of a fly to begin with and focus on the combat element. I'm going to give this engine a bit of a squirt now. That was on quite high settings to begin with, and we'll go with 2800 RPM and 8 pounds boost, just shy of the emergency boost settings. So rolling around here. Goes. Track IR is not perfectly responsive. I'm going to move the track IR receiver a bit just to make it a bit more responsive. That's better. Bit of a buffet there as I was pulling the nose up, the famous Spitfire buffet, which you don't get in the DCS Spitfire actually. Buffeting sensation. Let's just close on this one, 110 here, and we'll just take a look at the weapons. If I can get within weapons range, that's about 500-600 meters. Too far to get an effective shot off, especially with the turning. I'd have to fire well out in front of him here to get a deflection shot. Something like about, is he climbing? About there maybe? Nah. Made him move though. He may have been about to move anyway. We'll try and get a bit closer. Looked a little unstable then. Let's see what his dive characteristics are like. Spitfire feels really good in this dive actually. Looking at the speedo coming out of speedo. The airspeed indicator coming up to 400 here. Going to go up, use the energy, roll over the top. Dive down on him. The nose up attitude there inverted. Flying lovely. Still got 250 miles per hour showing. Uses the energy quite well. Now we're basically diving on this guy, so we've got a nice energy advantage now. It's just an AI set to relatively low skill level, so I'm not doing this to show off dogfighting skills. I'm just doing this so we can have a look at the engine, look at the aircraft. Still maintaining good boost pressure and good RPM. Temperatures are hot, but I don't think it's going to blow. I think you can run these quite warm for quite some time. Right, he's got a slight turn on, so throwing a bit of rudder, and we'll just try a tiny bit of deflection. Ooh, oh, no, it's turning the other way. Good thing I didn't pull the trigger then. Okay. Gotta get used to how these guns work. That was interesting. I've got the convergence set to about 260, I think, which means I actually should be a lot closer before I open it. Now he's moving away. He's just focusing a bit. There we go. Now that very first hit seemed to hit him on the left engine, and one round has already caused his engine to start smoking. That is probably a little bit excessive, unless it was a cannon round that hit something vital, but to be honest, I have been fiddling around with this a little bit, and it seems to me that any hit to an engine instantly causes it to start smoking like that. So now you can see I've managed to get both. The right engine has now stopped. The left engine has now stopped. Now the smoking has stopped on one engine. The pilot has bailed out, or he's popped his canopy. Oh, now there's no pilot. You can see the airplane is now out of control. There goes one of the crew members. There's the other crew member. And the machine's going to go in somewhere down there. Looks like I've just lost sight of it on its way down. So there we go. Oh yeah, there he is. He's still on his way down. We'll watch him splash in a second. Looks quite nice. The reflections show all the way away. I mean, he's... Well, we'll know in a second how far away he is. I can still see the reflections of the sun on his aircraft. I can still see the reflections. Plain as day. Reflections still very visible. And is he about to go in? Okay, he's going in. What's my altitude? 7,500 feet. So at 2 kilometers away, 2 and a bit kilometers, I can still see the reflections perfectly off that, off the model. Now that's quite good. But there's the visibility disappearing there when I zoom in and out. Oh, that's interesting. It's like it's actually moving my head position forward. Zoom out and the crater disappears. Zoom in and the crater reappears. Okay, let's have another look at the flying. The sun is really cool. I don't like the God rays. I'm trying to use my mouse there, so especially how the God rays is, the texture's just too big. But what I do like is that when you look into the sun like this, everything's washed out, really glary and hard to see. It'd be nice if it was a little bit more blinding. One of the things I don't like about the DCS sun is it's not quite blinding. When you look straight at the DCS sun, it doesn't really make much of a difference to your visibility. Although this one's quite low on the horizon, so maybe if it was up there in midday and I looked at it, maybe it would completely wash out. Okay, let's have a little look at the handling. Roll. It's not super fast rolling. It is about what you'd expect. It's very similar to what I'm used to with other Spitfires. They're not the greatest rolling aircraft. It does feel a little bit sloppy though. The nose isn't holding itself very well. Now I've got the DCS Spitfire tuned with my control setup, so it's like quite rock solid. This feels like it needs a little bit of tuning, but that may just be user interface stuff. The texture quality is pretty good. It's not perfect. It's a little bit pixelated by this point here, but everything's readable. Small print's readable. Yeah, it's totally acceptable. May not be quite as high res as the DCS Spitfire. I think it's a bit low res there. You can see the textures on the back are a bit clunky, but you know, it's pretty good. You don't spend much time zoomed in staring at this kind of stuff, so it doesn't really matter too much. I was quite impressed with the way the aircraft visibility worked. That was really impressive, the way I could see that 110 all the way down. He was reflecting and casting shadows all the way down from at least 2 kilometers away. That's quite good. Let's have a look at handling. One thing I noticed is that the aircraft was... Oh, what just happened there? The end of mission. Okay. That is really strange. I'm no longer in control of this airplane. Oh, now I am in control again. Okay. Don't know what just happened. Maybe there's some weird key binding, but I just completely had no control of the airplane, and now I'm in control again. What I was going to demonstrate is this aircraft spins. The DCS Spitfire pretty much will not spin. And let's go into a left-hand turn, and I'm going to pull back and we'll listen for the buffet, and then I'm going to yank back on the stick when we hit the buffet. Buffet's very loud. More. Here's the buffet. Back on the stick. And now we're going to spin. Now that's my... Oh, it's recovered. Right, that's actually what the DCS Spitfire does. It doesn't stay in a spin. We'll try proving me wrong here. I'm going to try and get this thing into a spin. Here we go. A bit of rudder as well. Come on, spin. Spin. No, it's recovering. Let's try with full engine. Increase the engine settings so the engine's pumping and the propeller is charging away. Lost a lot of height here. The first time I tried to spin, actually when I loaded this up, it spun straight away, but suddenly it's decided it doesn't want to spin for me. Right, go into the chair. Okay, put the engine up quite high. Okay, now we're spinning. Right, there we go. So, cut the engine. opposite rudder and push the nose forward. And there's the recovery. We don't have enough height, I don't think. Oh yeah, we've got enough altitude fuel. So there we go. There's a spin and a recovery. Now, I don't think I've ever been able to get the DCS Spit into a spin. But it may actually be that because we run the DCS Spitfire with such modest engine settings, now it's not normal to basically do what I'm doing here with the DCS Spitfire, 2900 RPM and my boost in the red. You wouldn't get long flying in the DCS Spit with those kind of engine settings. This is normally where we have the engine down here at about 2600 RPM and even actually on the Merlin that the DCS Spitfire has, then the 66 you run about boost of about 7. So the equivalent for this engine would be about +3. So this is how we're running the DCS Spitfire engine most of the time. In fact, almost, or even in combat, similar settings to this. So it may be that the reason the DCS Spitfire feels like it's not spinning is because the engine torque's not there. I'm going to try some spins in the DCS Spitfire now with a high engine setting. But the mirror works really well on this. The in-cockpit lighting is pretty good. In-cockpit shadows. I'm going to put the back of the aeroplane at the sun. Get some sun in the cockpit here. There you go. It's all very nice looking. Overall, I think it looks really good. The clouds are pretty poor. There are a few problems with the clouds, which there we go, stripiness there, that I won't probably be able to go into too much detail in here, but like I've said with almost every sim I fly, clouds are always a problem for flight sim developers. They just have terrible trouble getting clouds that look realistic and don't do silly things like that, stripiness, and they don't do strange things like rotating as you look at them, as you change your view. Yeah, those ones there are doing strange things. Look, flick, 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 flick. So anyway, I'm kind of learning not to hold that sort of thing against the sim when they've got bad clouds, because it's so normal. I don't think I have an airfield nearby, so we're not going to do any landings today, but we may just drop down and have a little look at the landscape. Landscape textures are not that great. You can see already how sort of pixelated they are. Trees are about the same as what you see in every other sim. Nothing abnormal, nothing more adverse or better than what you're seeing anywhere else at the moment. So the trees are totally acceptable. Skip in between these a couple here. One thing I did notice when I was having a little blat earlier is that you can see that the grass rendering out in a line in front of me here too. Chasing the grass as it renders. It's rendering very close. I've got it set to the second highest distance. So that's interesting that it actually renders very close. I guess the grass is only kind of worthwhile when you're on the ground, but I mean, it's quite close in that it's rendering. I'll shove that distance out and we'll see what it looks like. Color palette's pretty dull, but you know, it's partly because of the geography. So overall, I think it's fun. I can understand why people are moving to the Battle of Stalingrad. I can understand why a lot of DCS World War II guys are actually spending a lot more time in Battle of Stalingrad. And this platform really is putting up some pretty decent competition. So I'll be spending myself a bit more time in BoS as well over the next few months. I do intend to have a little bit more of a look at the general handling characteristics of this aircraft, both on the ground and in the air. I'm thinking I'm going to get the P40 as well. And I'm thinking there'll be a bit more footage of me looking at some of the multiplayer stuff. Yeah, getting my ass kicked for a while, which should be jolly. So there we go. We have begun looking at the Battle of Stalingrad Spitfire, and other bits and pieces of this platform will be looked at in the coming months. Let's drop down now, take a quick look at that water over there, and then we'll bring it to a close by crashing into something. Nice reflective surface. Oh yeah, it's easy to judge height above the water. That's really nice. Very difficult to do in DCS is to judge your height above the water. The forest. Canopy's nicely modelled too, I must say. Clouds reflecting off the water. Really nice water surface this. Oh, that's good. That's really cool. Low level flying down here on the water is brilliant. The reflections are fantastic. Right, let's crash. A watery grave for this Spitfire 5. And his pilot.